Poilievre gives the facts on the Canadian economy, while Randy Boissonnault lies and continues his corrupt ways to trick Canadians on Halloween. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. Well, on Halloween, Pierre Poilievre introduced some disturbing economic figures, saying that we are falling further and further behind the United States, and it's all because of huge government and huge government spending. Of course, Randy Boissonnault, the corrupt employment minister, stood up and completely lied his face off, saying that Canada is actually doing well. Let's take a look at this exchange, and then we'll talk about it.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Statistics Canada reported terrible news for the Canadian economy today. It grew at a meager 1%, a third lower than foreseen.
And as per his previous comments in French, it's 2/3 lower than the United States.
And lower than our population grew. In fact, it was the 8th out of the last 9th economic quarter where our per capita GDP shrunk. It's fallen more than any other G7 country since the year before COVID. This is the direct result of higher taxes on capital gains, on energy, on work. Why won't they accept our common sense plan? Better yet, why don't they call a carbon tax election so we can fix the economy?
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. There is a lot of chocolate being consumed on the other side. You can see how energized the Conservatives are, but they're upset because we're sharing the facts. 1.6% inflation in this country. Interest rates are down. 47,000 new jobs in the last month. The International Monetary Fund has Canada positioned as the fastest growing economy in the G7 in 2025.
Well, we would have to be the fastest growing economy in the G7 in 2025 because we've been the slowest so far. We're falling so far behind, we look like we're in first place.
What else, Mr. Speaker? We're going to keep supporting Canadians. We're going to build houses from coast to coast. The Conservatives don't need to like it, but that's how we're supporting Canadians each and every day.
So they're going to build houses from coast to coast. Well, they've had 9 years to do it. How come they haven't already? They keep on sinking our economy, and Pierre keeps on standing up and telling the real facts.
Mr. Speaker, the American economy is roaring while the Canadian economy is snoring. In the most recently reported economic quarter, U.S. GDP grew 3 times faster than Canadian, despite our out-of-control population growth. In fact, per-person income is now lower than it was 10 years ago in Canada, while it's gone up 18% in the U.S. The gap between U.S. and Canadian incomes is worse than at any time in the last century. Why won't they call a carbon tax election so Canadians can vote for powerful paychecks that buy affordable homes on safe streets?
Yeah. Per person income in Canada is lower now than it has been in 10 years. But in the US, they've seen an 18% increase. Check your bank account. Check your expenses. Who do you believe?
Mr. Speaker, it's quite surprising that the Leader of the Opposition isn't taking the bare facts on board. But quite frankly, not just 1.6 inflation or 47,000 jobs. Let's go to what he's trying to distract Canadians from, which as Leader of the official opposition, as somebody who someday wants to sit on this side of the House, will simply not go and do the work to get his security clearance. He will not protect his MPs. He will not protect Canadians. Shame on him, Mr. Speaker. Get his security clearance.
We'll talk about a pivot. They're talking about the economy, not Pierre's security clearance. And he's made it very clear. He doesn't want to be gagged. He doesn't want to not be able to talk about what he learns in those security briefings. So as soon as he gets his briefing, of course, he can't talk about it. He can't ask even the important questions that he's asking in the House now. It's not Pierre who's pivoting and diverting from the questions, the important questions before the House. It's Randy Boissonnault and all of his liberal cohorts who keep on bringing this up because they don't want to answer any questions put to them, because every time they do, they're just spreading more lies.
Canada's collapsing per-person economy. It means lower wages, which means that Canadians can afford less food, less housing, and governments can afford less for schools and hospitals. It's the direct result. So these are first economic data points that have come out since they jacked up the capital gains tax and now driving billions of dollars south of the border. Why don't they follow our common sense plan to axe taxes? In fact, in addition to getting rid of the carbon tax, why not follow our plan to axe the GST on new homes to build 30,000 more per year? It's common sense. Let's bring it home.
Mr. Speaker, we can do the facts game all day long.
Randy wouldn't know an honest fact if it slapped him upside the head.
Let's just focus. The Leader of the Opposition likes to remind people that he has roots in Alberta. So let's talk about the Liberal government's investments in Alberta, Mr. Speaker. $22 billion in clean energy investments, for clean electricity, for hydrogen, for greening the grid, for making sure that we have the greenest barrel of oil in the world, Mr. Speaker. The third in the world for foreign direct investment. We are the #1 in the world per capita for foreign direct investment. They don't want to tell Canadians about it. We will, and we'll make sure there are good jobs from coast to coast to coast.
I wonder how many jobs there actually are on the north coast, the coast of the Arctic Ocean. But that's beside the point. They keep on talking about how much money they're throwing at a problem. Well, if they were competent, they wouldn't have to throw all that money at a problem. And since they are throwing billions of dollars at these problems, it makes you wonder, why can't they solve anything? So there you have it. It's the beginning of November. All the Liberals can say is, we're spending billions of dollars. We're not getting anything out of it, but we're spending the money. We're charging you more taxes for it. And as a result, we're driving the economy into the sewer. Oh, and by the way, Pierre isn't getting his security clearance. This is the danger of communist governments. And yes, I said communist because that's how I see them. I see them as communist governments. They want to not only control everything, which would be fascism, but they actually want to own everything. They're throwing all of our money at problems, but they're not solving anything. And because they're communists, they think that our money is their money, that they can just take from all of us and spend, but not really get anything for it. Maybe it's actually their plan. Maybe they want to destroy Canada so that we have to join some sort of world government and rely totally on the WEF or the UN for our survival. I think it would be much better if we joined the United States so that each of our 10 provinces can become 10 states and have a lot more independence from the central government. So we would have more decentralized control, and we would benefit from a super economy, the likes of which has never been seen before. Trump is talking now about eliminating income tax, which should have happened after World War I, and of course it didn't. And then it should have happened after World War II, and of course it didn't. But now he's talking about doing it, and if anybody can do it, he probably can. But what about Canada? Can Canada eliminate income tax? Well, actually, yes, we can. We are a resource-rich country, and if managed properly, we could eliminate income tax. And what better way to do it than to maybe unify with the United States? I know that's not a popular statement, and I know it's not going to probably go over well with a lot of my viewers, but in the long run, I think it's inevitable. And the way the Liberals are running this country, maybe they will drive us towards that inevitability even faster than what would naturally occur. But that's just my opinion. I'd love to know what you think. Put your comments down below. And while you're at it, please like this video, share with your friends, and on social media. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell notification so you never miss another video. Oh, and please join me on Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific time for my live stream, where you're invited to join in on the conversation. I may even do an extra live stream this week on Tuesday to follow the U.S. election, because it is very important, not only for the U.S., but for Canada and, well, quite frankly, the entire world. Also, I do teach the Canadian Firearm Safety course. These are courses you need in order to get your firearms license, also known as a PAL. If you'd like to take one of those courses, I operate on Vancouver Island. And if you're on Vancouver Island, you can look me up in the description of this video to my website, where you can sign up for those courses. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.